So I'm here luckily today by Paris and Eric. Guys, who are you and what do you do for people that don't know?
We are Hellooo TV. So what we do is we film and edit live music videos. So we do everything from bringing the band in, setting it up. Eric does the audio, I do the video, and then also the editing, and then we give people a finished product to live stream.
100% turnkey in the studio that we built here in Nashville.
Yeah, I seen you guys have I was looking on your website earlier. You've got a huge crew of people. How did you go about sourcing people to make this happen?
These are all people that we've known from touring or who've been recommended to us from people that we've known from touring. Paris and I both, I've been a touring audio engineer for 20 years. Paris has been a touring photographer, videographer for 10 or 15 years. So
yeah, we
met a lot of people.
We had the pick of the litter because no one's touring right now.
Yeah.
We got whoever we wanted, so it was pretty great. So we have the best team you can get in Nashville.
And how is it going for you guys? Is it because of the way things are at the moment? Obviously, there's no concerts and live music, and that's pretty much your job. And I feel like even in Ireland here at the moment, musicians and people that work in music are not really being looked after over here by the government. And how's things over in America in that regard?
I would say roughly the same. I know that the whole music industry is out of work right now, and it depends on who you are and how your outlook is on what they're doing. There's people they're really hurting, and there's people that had some savings and they're just kind of waiting it out, and then there's people that have pivoted and created businesses that they've never thought they would do before just to make ends meet. But it's all, at least in the music community, it's all people trying to figure out how to do what we've always done or what we love to do when the world threw us a curveball and said we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, because with obviously music, CDs and downloads and things like that are a thing of the past. Like there's not really money to be made by that. So bands and musicians' bread and butter now is touring. And that's why we see a lot more bands touring worldwide nearly all year round. So to have that taken away, like it's a huge hit on people.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just trying to do it, virtually and do a legitimate show. Like it's not just someone in your basement. This is a full live show. We have full crew. It sounds amazing, obviously.
We just did our first virtual meet and greet too. We didn't know how that was going to go. Paris actually on the last 2 years of our tour, she, aside from photo and video, she's also running the VIP section of it as well. And we're like, how do we do this meet and greet? And we ended up doing a 70-person meet and greet via Zoom, and it was one of the coolest things. It
was really cool.
The artist played extra songs from his studio at home and just talked to fans one-on-one. It was really, really cool. So it's actually created a new experience that I think artists or the industry in general can take moving forward. Like I don't think it's going to go away just when the virus is cured. It's going to be a new income stream for everybody to use, a new way of connecting with fans.
Was it all the 70 people in at one time with the artist?
Yep.
Yeah, they were all in there.
Crazy.
Muted.
Yeah.
Just give free reign to talk whenever you want. But yeah, everyone was muted, and then, you raise your hand and you could say you have a question, and then we unmute that one person and then they ask you a question. But it's cool because you can see everyone's reactions because all their faces are in the video. So it's cool. You see everyone laughing, and
when he starts playing, you see them singing along. Like you see the smiles on the people's faces like you would at a show. So it hit really hard for me to know that what we're doing is actually connecting with people. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah. So even though they weren't at the show, they still had a personal experience as well with the artist.
Yeah, it's cool. We're doing it the best we can right now.
And we can see the people's living room, so you guys should clean up a little, all right?
Yeah, I see. When the pandemic kicked in, like in Ireland anyway, it was just everyone was online playing in their kitchen or living room or whatever, and there was some god awful performances and setups.
Yeah, we've seen some stuff.
Yeah. And that kind of motivated you maybe to go where you are now.
It did indeed, and I don't want to. Nothing disrespectful to any of the artists out there doing whatever they can to connect, but early on, there was a lack of understanding of what was possible, and we kind of invented this as we go. And we're not the only ones. There are tons of people out there doing the same thing. It's just applying the knowledge and skills you've developed over the years, along with the artist's talent, to make it happen. You just have to want it. You have to think about it, want to do it.
And how did you guys get into the career paths that you're in?
I made a bunch of bad decisions.
Yeah, I guess me too.
Yeah. I seen a video of you, Paris, on your YouTube page where you're really young and you get your first camera.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah.
I was years old and I was excited about the camera under the Christmas tree. Yeah, when I saw that video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. But yeah, I mean, I've been into photography ever since I was really young. Obviously, what you saw, 2 years old, so even younger than I thought. But yeah, I just started, honestly, photographing like in high school and going to local shows, and I started that way and just started meeting people and worked my way up. It's not really, there's no like aha moment where this is what I did and this is how it happened. It's just a bunch of stuff came together, and you know, networking and loving what you do. And what about you?
I'm a really shitty guitar player.
He is.
That was going to be one of my questions. I was wondering, did you guys start out in bands or anything like that as well?
In high school, I played a little bit, but I mean, it was just in punk and metal bands, and I'm not that good. And when I was in college, and I was actually thought I was going to be a teacher. Turns out I don't like other people's kids. I started hanging out in the local music scene and just made friends with some band guys. And next thing you know, I was driving the truck and lifting the gear and pushing around, and I was just kind of general teching, roadieing, hanging out, making $50 a night and all the beer I could drink.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even old enough to drink. In Ireland, I think that age is 2. It's 20.
Yeah, it's pretty young here.
In the United States, it's 21. So I was 18 doing this, and it was kind of cool. I had access to money, beer, and girls. It was great. And then when the band I was working with, they started opening up for larger like regional and national acts, and I actually started really paying attention to what was going on. And the band was cheap, so they wanted me to start mixing the sound. And I'm like, you want me to do what? And I just kind of learned as I go. I was in school with a major in physics, so the audio kind of really just worked for me anyway. The musical side of me, being a bad guitar player, doesn't mean I didn't understand music theory. And
now he's just a big nerd.
20 years later, I'm a big nerd with some really cool speakers.
Have you guys been to Ireland?
I have. Oh yeah, were we there last year or no?
I don't remember.
No, we just did England last year. We didn't do Ireland.
I've been there.
I did. I was there in 2018 and 2017, but I haven't been there in 2 years.
What bands were you there with?
I was there last with Sons of Apollo.
Okay.
I was with Limp Bizkit. And I want to say maybe Godsmack, but maybe not.
No, Godsmack have never been to Ireland. That's another point I was going to get onto.
I think the closest we got to Ireland with Godsmack was Nottingham. So that's still a big body of water in the way.
So
yeah.
Bizkit.
Yeah, I was at that show. Pretty drunk. Pretty great.
Oh yeah. I mean, every show is good with them, so you can just say that and on a blanket, and I'll agree.
Were you at the show Rock am Ring 2009?
2009, no. I started with them in 2011 or 12. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I had Franco on there a couple of weeks ago. Like, he's a really fucking cool guy.
Oh, dude, I love Franco. Like, seriously, one of the best people in the world.
Yeah, he's such a happy guy, like, you know.
Yeah. In
terms of experience then and life on the road, is it difficult for you guys Like when you're going on the road these days, do you often go together or would you go separate?
Well, it's funny. We come from different tours, and we've known each other, I guess, through social media and friends of friends for years, but we didn't tour together until 2018. So I don't know if we're going to tour together next year or moving forward because we don't know what the business is going to be doing.
Yeah.
Either way, if a tour that I'm on needs an audio engineer, I'm going to recommend Eric.
And if a tour I'm on needs a photographer, videographer, lady in charge of anything, I'm going to recommend her.
Do you reckon that bands will have smaller crews now going forward, or do you think they'll have the big catalog?
I don't. I think quite the opposite. I think that right now there's multiple things happening at the same time. I think that there's a lot of crew in this business that are not coming back. They've pivoted. They've realized that there's money to be made at home, and they really like staying home with their family and their kids, or they've lost everything and they've had to start over. So that part's thinned out. But then there's also been this thing where there's been a year of not working, so everybody has to have gotten better at what they do. And now the artists have the pick of the litter to get whatever they want to get the best of the best on the road. So I think that their expectations are going to be high. Our expectations as crew are going to be high. And the fans are going to win because everybody's going to come out trying to be the best.
Yeah, as I said earlier about record sales, and it doesn't really exist maybe anymore except for special edition vinyls and niche things that bands put out there. So touring is the bread and butter now for bands. So I reckon when all this is over, when it is over, like there's going to be a hell of a lot of touring going on.
I think it's going to be slow at first, and I think it's because the large promoters are going to be cautious about what tickets they sell because they've spent a year not making any money, so they're not going to take risks on middle tier acts or acts that may or may not sell out. But all of the big names that you know will sell out the minute they go on sale. You're going to see them immediately.
Yeah, because there was a lot of gigs supposed to happen in Ireland this summer, and there was going to be a rock festival over here for the first time, I think, in 15 years. And so the Deftones and Fate No More were supposed to headline it, and that was taken away. And I think there was a promotion started that, but I think they lost a shit ton of money, and it can't go ahead now next year, which is unfortunate.
But I won't name drop just in case, but trust me, everybody huge will be doing it, and it will be huge. But anybody who's not huge or is on the way up, just be patient because there's a finite amount of time. You're going to have to probably not do the massive sold out indoor shows, so they're going to have to do multiple nights or smaller shows. They're going to have time in between. There's other stuff like whatever sports team belongs in that arena normally, they're going to want to play their games too. It's going to be interesting to see how they schedule everything.
And then different countries, I suppose, and even in America, different states will have different rules regarding sizes, crowds, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I live in Florida, man. It's the wild. It's just the jungle down there. There's no rules. Everybody's sick and dying, and the hospitals are full, but so are the beaches. So
yeah, isn't that where the big biker rally thing happened? Was that in Florida?
No, that was in South Dakota. There's another one that happens in February. So it happened this year, and we didn't know about COVID until March. It's called Bike Week in Daytona. And I'm curious to see what happens with Bike Week in Daytona in 2021.
They'll probably just do it.
Yeah, what we learned about bikers is they don't give a shit.
Yeah. I had Billy Gray on from Fozzy, Fozzy, the band there, a couple of weeks ago, and they played at the festival, and he said,
wow.
I said, like, they got a lot of stick, I think, in the media because Chris Jericho is their singer, so they kind of, I think, targeted them and said, oh, Chris Jericho played this festival, but there was a lot of bands that played at it as well.
Tons of bands played, and we know people that played there.
Yeah.
The bands did whatever they could to be safe because they're in the know. But you look in the audience, you got 30, 40, 50,000 people. They've all got beers this big in their hands.
Yeah.
Their first one by the time the sun's down. They're not making the best decisions.
Yeah. I was very surprised it went ahead, but then I thought America is, no offense, like it's a crazy place.
Yeah, we know. We know. But we have been doing our part, at least.
You've been responsible.
So, yeah.
In terms of life on the road, what is if you both were to pick the funniest thing that you've seen on the road, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe not too personal, but I'm sure you get stories.
Honestly, for me, like, funny, and these are just moments to myself.
Yeah.
I walk around the crowd, and I'm not making fun of the crowd, but sometimes people get really drunk, and they're dancing in a way that is just funny. I'm sorry, it's funny, and they're just going for it, and I love that they are having a good time, and it makes me really happy. But those kind of moments where I'm just like walking around the crowd trying to find shots, you know, of the show, and I love filming people just going at it, just dancing like really hard. And that, for me, I'm by myself obviously because I'm a crew of one, so it's cool. I love it. That I laugh a lot at crowd dancing.
I honestly I like the pranks. There's this age-old tradition of bands, especially at the end of the tour, pranking on each other.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, the artist I was with, we were the headliner on a tour, and the support band, their drummer and the singer are twin brothers.
Okay.
So they came out pranking us, doing the standard, you know, twin replacing the twin thing, and that was kind of funny. But the drummer chews lollipops like in his mouth, like incessantly when he's playing, and then he throws them. And the annoying part about that is they stick everywhere, and we have the stage carpet and all this shit, and there's like always these lollipop sticky ends stuck to the stage.
Who is that?
I'm not gonna say that on camera. But
I'm just gonna Google drummer who eats lollipops. But go ahead.
So at the end of the tour, one of the crew guys went out into the store and bought this giant bag full of lollipops, and we dumped them in a bucket, so they were all wet and sticky with water, and it stuck the lollipops literally like all over his drum kit.
Oh.
And it didn't do it, and then replaced all of the sticks in his bag, but two with, you know, the big lollipops with like the big round tops. And they did it like right before the show. So we did the sound check and everything was great. Now their intro music's rolling up, and now this dude's walking up to his drum kit that's like completely covered in lollipops and for lollipops. And, to add insult to injury, what one of the other bands on the tour did is systematically throughout the show they would just go up and take away pieces of his drum kit. So by the end of the show, the dude literally had a kick drum and a snare drum, and that was it. Like all the cymbals, everything else, just like one by one, they just walk up and take it while they're playing. And
oh my God!
What's funny about that is it's kind of cliche for us, and you roll your eyes, but I know that the crowd never sees that kind of stuff. So whatever city that was in, that was a unique experience for them, and I love the fact that they got to experience that thing, even though it's something that we do all the time, and it's kind of just rote.
Yeah, Hellooo TV then, there's the diversity of acts on it. I see there's a lot of country acts as well as maybe kind of more in the pop lines and then rock as well. What's your favorite type of music? Like if you were to name maybe your favorite bands, I'm not going to ask you to put them in order or anything like that for people that you work with and so on and so forth. But if you were to give me a few bands and artists that are your favorites, shoot away.
To film, I really liked some of the more, you know, and I'm doing video, so the more energetic bands. Like if you're putting on a live show, like I can get into the music if you're doing it well, no matter what type of music it is, you know. So I'm more into the live performance than I am in the actual music, you know. And we've had some awesome performers. Maggie Miles, if you want to watch the show, go to HelloTV.com and you can see all of our shows that we've done. But Maggie Miles was awesome. Coco Kin was awesome. Just with playing into the camera and also just putting on a show as if people were there. And I know it's hard to do because there's 5 people with cameras and not 500 people watching you. So that's sort of what I like. I'm more into the aspect of the live music than the music itself, if that really makes sense.
Yeah. It's actually a really cool difference between the two of us. It's actually, I think it's why Hello works and the shows that we put on work well, because she's totally into the visual aspect of the show. And I'm mixing the show from a room, and I don't even have a camera into the studio. I'm literally flying blind with my eyes closed. And I am definitely more into the musicality of what's going on and listening to people play. And I mean, I have guilty pleasures, like, of course, Metallica is probably my favorite band. But lately I've been listening to music that has a lot. I like a lot of players. I like a lot of instrumentation, and I kind of like that groovy blues rock kind of thing. I tried to introduce her to a band called Izzy Stradlin and the Juju Hounds yesterday, and she just rolled her eyes at me. But I really like it. But I like stuff that has a groove. I like stuff that has some depth of playing, and I like music that has emotion. So how many times now have I made her listen to stuff like live Pink Floyd records and stuff like that?
I'm down with Pink Floyd though. I can get down with that. But some of the stuff, I don't know.
But it's
a lot of 80s hair metal that he likes that I'm not into. So.
But I have a really diverse taste. I mean, there's no artist that has come through Hello right now that I would not listen to. But there's also been a couple that I was hesitant for. I'm like, oh man, this might suck. And then at the end of it, I'm like, that was really cool. And it's because they're super talented and they had something to say. And Paris took care of how they were saying it and what they looked like when they were saying it. And then I got to take care of actually translating that message. And together we made something really awesome.
It's funny you mentioned Metallica. They played a huge show here in Ireland last summer to 80,000 people. And it's a venue called Slane Castle. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a pretty big venue, and all the big artists have played there. And to see Whiskey in the Jar being played at that was incredible. Because there was one time Metallica came to Ireland, I think it was in 2010, and they forgot to play it.
Oh,
yeah.
It's funny because, like, especially Whiskey in the Jar, that's the one Metallica cover song that I could go like the rest of my life without hearing.
Yeah.
I was in Ireland, and then I would be pissed if I didn't hear it in Ireland.
Yeah. Doesn't beat the original.
I've never actually heard the original. Like, whoever is it a real folk song, or is it recorded by some artist that I should know about?
Tin Lizzy.
Okay, so it's a it's a Thin Lizzy song. I've never heard the Thin Lizzy version.
Poser.
But I've heard, especially around the middle of March, there's a ton of acoustic bands that decided to play it around the 17th. So I've heard the fake folk version of it countless times.
Yeah. What do I have here?
Poser.
God.
I don't know the original song, but love the cover.
I do. Well, I acknowledge that was a cover record. One of my favorite Metallica record is the record of covers.
There you go.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Got my friend Adam wants me to pass on a message for you to pass on to Godsmack to come to Ireland. That was one thing I had written down here.
All right. We already were there, so I don't even know. But yeah.
Yeah.
We only went to Europe 2 times within like the last 10 years, so I'm sure that they want to hit it again.
And I know, like last year, every show we did in Europe was huge, and they had fun, we had fun, and the crowds had fun. So I'm sure they'll be back.
You hit the UK. Was it Nottingham? Was it you say?
We did 3 or 4 in a row in the UK. Then we did the rest of Europe. Then we came back, and then we played Download again in the UK.
Wow.
Oh, that was the show of my life. I got to mix Godsmack, and then I got to hang out and watch Tool. It was life.
Nice. I seen in 2010 you were nominated for a big award, the Parnelli Award.
I was nominated for the Parnelli. I was the audio systems engineer for Taylor Swift, and I lost that year because the tour that was running was also John Williams touring with the San Francisco Symphony doing Star Wars music.
Yeah.
And I lost to Star Wars, and I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. But it's pretty huge, and it shows like diversity in what you do then as well. Like you could be working for Godsmack or Taylor Swift.
Yeah, if you look back on it, and I've had to, as you update your resume or you do these podcasts and interviews, I've done a wide spectrum of music, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah. In terms of the future, then, guys, for the moment away from touring with Hellooo TV, what have you got in the pipelines for people?
More shows. Honestly.
We actually, this is really cool. The United States, or at least Nashville, shuts down for the holidays, so we're just about done for the rest of the year. And the last show we did was this big variety show for all of the U.S. military that's overseas. And instead of paying artists to go into airplanes and spread COVID around the world, we did it in our studio. And I think that that's the beginning of something that we're probably going to do monthly to create a music festival.
Wow.
Which is pretty rad. The phone's already ringing from other artists to start coming in and shooting videos, and we've moved on because of Paris's relationship with Newfound Glory. It turns out that not only do we do live concert videos, but we do traditional music videos now too, and we've got some of that shooting coming up as well.
Yeah, we just shot the Newfound Glory Christmas special, so if you want to check that out, I'm actually editing it right now. There's a trivia that I'm editing, and it's pretty funny. There's trivia, there's interviews, there's cooking, there's like live songs, and there's a bunch of stuff, reenactments of movies. It's pretty good. So if you're into Christmas and pop punk, you should check that out. Just go on newfoundglory.com. I'm sure it's everywhere. Oh my god!
What was that? Did you hear that all the way over in Ireland?
I did hear that, yeah.
It shook the house, whatever it was. Somebody shot a cannon outside.
Okay, well, it might be a good time to wrap things up, so. Thanks a million for your time, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
And we'll see you in Ireland when you're back on the road.
For
Can't
sure.
wait.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.